There's a tiny green spice sitting in most people's kitchens right now that has been studied in clinical trials and shown to drop systolic blood pressure by nearly 20 points. Not a fringe study, not anecdotal internet stories. Published, peer-reviewed research with measurable results. But here's what almost everyone sharing this information leaves out. The way you use this spice is just as important as the spice itself. Get it wrong, and you could end up in the emergency room. Get it right, and you might be looking at a genuine turning point in your blood pressure management. Before I explain how to use it safely, you need to hear what happened to one of my patients. A 72-year-old man, I'll call him Robert, had been dealing with high blood pressure for years, already on 2 medications. His doctor was discussing a third. He was exhausted, dizzy in the mornings, mentally foggy. When a family member told him about a natural spice that could help, he didn't hesitate. He went to his kitchen and started using it that same day. 3 days later, he ended up in the emergency room. His blood pressure had crashed to dangerously low levels. It dropped so low the nurses couldn't safely stand him up. He was confused, pale, and sweating. It took hours of monitoring and IV fluids before he stabilized. Here's what makes the story complicated. After he recovered, educated properly, given the right guidance, he started using that same spice again. This time correctly, under supervision, with adjusted medications. His blood pressure settled at 128/78. He went from 2 medications down to 1. He felt better than he had in years. Same spice. 2 completely different outcomes. The difference was knowledge. I'm Dr. Mandy Thomas. Today, I'm covering the spice, the science behind why it works, 5 critical mistakes that can make the difference between real results and a medical emergency, and a step-by-step protocol for using it safely and effectively. The spice is cardamom, those small bright green pods you might recognize from chai tea or Indian cooking. What's inside those pods has a profound effect on your cardiovascular system, and multiple published clinical studies back this up. In one trial published in a peer-reviewed biochemistry journal, participants with stage 1 hypertension were given 3 grams of cardamom powder daily. After 12 weeks, systolic pressure dropped from around 154 to 135, diastolic from 97 to 88. Those are the kinds of numbers you typically associate with prescription medication, not something you sprinkle into your morning oatmeal. Here's why it works, and why it can be dangerous if misused. Cardamom lowers blood pressure through 4 distinct pathways. Each one is powerful on its own. Together, they explain both why the results are so significant and why the risks are real. 1. It acts as a natural calcium channel blocker, causing blood vessel walls to relax and pressure to drop. 2. It has diuretic properties, encouraging your kidneys to release more fluid and reducing blood volume. 3. It acts as a powerful antioxidant, reducing oxidative stress in vessel walls and improving their flexibility. 4. It calms the stress response in the autonomic nervous system that drives blood pressure higher. But here's the part almost nobody tells you. If you're already taking a calcium channel blocking medication, amlodipine, diltiazem, and you add cardamom without adjusting your prescription, you now have 2 things doing the same job simultaneously. That additive effect can send blood pressure into dangerous territory. That is exactly what happened to Robert. He was taking amlodipine and added cardamom without telling his doctor. The combined effect crashed his blood pressure. He nearly passed out multiple times before anyone caught it. Drop a comment right now. Have you ever tried a natural approach for blood pressure, and did you talk to your doctor about it first? Mistake 1. Starting cardamom without talking to your doctor, especially if you're already on blood pressure medication. The reasoning most people use is that it's natural, so it must be safe. That logic is dangerous. Cardamom is biologically active. It affects the same systems your medications are already targeting. The protocol: tell your physician you're interested in cardamom and bring them the research. Ask about adjusting your medication dose before or shortly after starting. Set up a plan to monitor blood pressure daily. And stay in close contact during the first 4 weeks, watching for dizziness, weakness, confusion, or fainting, signs that pressure is dropping too low. By the way, I've put all of this into a one-page cardamom protocol card that my clinic patients use. I'll tell you where to get it at the end of this video. Mistake 2. Using the wrong amount. The clinical research used 3 grams of cardamom powder per day, roughly 1 teaspoon of ground powder, or about 15 to 20 whole pods. Under 1 gram daily, you're below the threshold where meaningful cardiovascular effects occur. Over 4 grams, particularly with medication, you risk excessive blood pressure lowering and digestive side effects. But here's a detail that matters enormously, and most people miss entirely. That 3 grams should not be taken all at once. Split it. 1.5 grams in the morning, 1.5 in the evening. Cardamom's active compounds have a limited window of effectiveness in the bloodstream. Splitting the dose keeps them active across the full 24-hour period for more consistent control. This next mistake is where things become dangerous, and it's the one that sent Robert to the emergency room. Mistake 3. Poor timing relative to your medications. Most blood pressure medications reach peak concentration in your bloodstream 2 to 4 hours after you take them. If cardamom peaks at the same time, the combined effect creates a dangerous overlap right in that window. The safer approach: if you take blood pressure medication in the morning, wait until midday or early afternoon for your first cardamom dose. Take your second dose in the evening before bed. This creates separation between peak medication levels and peak cardamom effects. Robert took cardamom before bed, then took his medication at 6 in the morning. By 8 o'clock, both were at full effect simultaneously. That overlap sent him to the emergency room. Now I want to pause here. If you're over 60 and want clear, science-based cardiovascular health information every week, hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications. And share this today with a senior you care about who's managing blood pressure. The next 2 mistakes are the ones most people never hear about anywhere. Let's keep going. Mistake 4. Not monitoring blood pressure properly. Before you start cardamom, spend 1 full week measuring blood pressure twice daily: morning readings before breakfast and medications, evening readings before dinner. Write everything down. That is your baseline. After you start, continue measuring at the same times, same arm, same seated position. A drop of 3 to 5 points in the first 2 weeks is a positive sign. A drop of more than 10 points in the first 2 weeks is a warning sign. The combined effect may be too strong. Contact your doctor immediately. No change after 4 weeks usually means either the dose is insufficient or the cardamom has lost its potency, which leads directly into the final mistake. Mistake 5. Using cardamom in the wrong form, and this one surprises almost everyone. Pre-ground powder from a grocery store shelf has often lost 60 to 70% of its active compounds by the time it reaches you. The volatile terpenes that do much of the cardiovascular work degrade quickly after grinding. Cardamom tea only extracts water-soluble compounds. The fat-soluble terpenes stay trapped in the seeds. Supplements and extracts alter compound ratios in ways that may disrupt their natural synergy. The method with the strongest research support: buy whole green cardamom pods, vibrant in color, plump, not shriveled or brown. Use a mortar and pestle or small spice grinder to crush them fresh, pods and seeds together. Use the powder immediately or within 24 hours. Mix into yogurt, oatmeal, a smoothie, or warm tea. The complete 12-week protocol. Week 1, get physician approval. Establish your baseline with twice daily readings. Buy fresh whole green cardamom pods. Start at 1.5 grams daily, half the research dose, to check for sensitivity and let your body adjust. Week 2. If you tolerated the lower dose well and blood pressure hasn't dropped excessively, increase to the full 3 grams per day, split into morning and evening doses, timed with separation from your medications. Weeks 3 and 4. Continue daily monitoring. A drop of more than 10 points, call your doctor. No change after 4 weeks. Verify your dose and the freshness of your cardamom. 4-week mark. Check in with your physician. Bring your full blood pressure log. Discuss whether any medication adjustments are warranted. Continue through 12 weeks. The research shows maximum benefit builds over this full time frame. The improvements to arterial flexibility and vascular function are gradual and cumulative. You are looking for a steady, sustained downward trend, not dramatic overnight results. After 12 weeks, reassess with your doctor. Some seniors can reduce medication dose. Some can eliminate one medication while staying on a reduced amount of another. Others use cardamom as a long-term complement, reducing side effects while maintaining good control. One thing to understand clearly: if cardamom works for you and you stop, blood pressure will likely rise again within weeks. This is an ongoing cardiovascular support strategy. Like medication, it manages the underlying condition rather than curing it. Who should not use cardamom therapeutically? Gallstones or gallbladder problems. Therapeutic doses can stimulate contractions and potentially move stones, causing severe pain or obstruction. Blood thinners or anticoagulants, warfarin, clopidogrel, newer anticoagulants. Cardamom has mild antiplatelet properties that require physician oversight. Surgery scheduled within 2 weeks. Stop therapeutic doses beforehand. Pregnancy or breastfeeding. Therapeutic doses have not been adequately studied. Baseline blood pressure already normal or low, below about 110/70. Cardamom could push it further down than is healthy. Allergies to ginger, turmeric, or related spices. Cardamom belongs to the same plant family. Start with a very small amount and monitor carefully. Here's what doing this correctly actually looks like. One of my patients, 68 years old, on 2 blood pressure medications, was struggling with a persistent dry cough from one and frequent nighttime urination from the other. Together, we reduced one medication dose before she started cardamom. She ground fresh pods every few days, mixed them into breakfast and an evening snack, and measured her pressure faithfully twice a day. At 8 weeks, her control was excellent, and we eliminated one medication entirely. With a lower dose of the remaining prescription and 3 grams of cardamom daily, her blood pressure held steadily at 128/78. Her cough disappeared. She slept through the night. 18 months later, she is still on that same combination and thriving. That outcome was possible because she did not go it alone. She had a plan, supervision, data, and patience. The 5 mistakes, starting without physician consultation, wrong dose, poor timing relative to medications, inadequate monitoring, and degraded or wrong form, are not minor details. They are the difference between Robert's first outcome and his second. Between ending up in the emergency room and feeling better than you have in years. I've put together a free cardamom protocol card, the 1-page printable I mentioned earlier, with the full 12-week protocol, the dosing schedule, the timing guidance, and the warning signs to watch for. I created this for my clinic patients, and I'm releasing it publicly this week. Download it from the description before we move it back into the patient portal. Drop a comment below. Does cardamom sound like something you'd bring up with your doctor? Or have you already tried it? I read every one. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this with a senior you care about who's on blood pressure medication and looking for a complementary approach. This could be the conversation that changes things for them. Next video, the 7 nutrients with the strongest clinical evidence for blood pressure reduction in seniors, including one that most people on statins are unknowingly depleted in. I'll see you there. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Never start, stop, or adjust blood pressure medication or add therapeutic supplements without consulting your healthcare provider first.